Bald and badass. Yeah, I think my kids got me this. I'm watching the Welker Farms. Let me put my hat on because nobody wants to see this bald head. But I was watching the Welker Farms. Oh, good morning and welcome to Ag Talk and Raw, by the way, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things. I would like to say that, I'm glad that Scott's okay. Leg arms, a.k.a. wet leg arms. I'm glad he's okay because, well, we don't know how okay he really is. That was pretty brutal when that drawbar fell. I was watching isn't it amazing that tar from inside that bin, it doesn't come off. But anyways, I was watching that drawbar video, or I'm still watching it, but I'm rambling on. If you haven't noticed, I mean, really rambling. Come on, Wesley, get this together already. Bald and badass and brainless, But anyway, with that being said, as he was painting that thing and welding on it, I'm like, dude, you didn't preheat it. I mean, I gotta be a jerk, I guess that's the New Jersey in me. As he was welding this thing up, I'm like, dude, you didn't preheat it. But anyways, I was worried that it was the piece that he was welding on that actually got him. And I'm just waiting at any moment. I'm like, drawbar. They said drawbar. They didn't say drawbar support. And I mean, the Welker boys are pretty good at describing their stuff. And so I'm like, I'm here with bated breath waiting for this drawbar support to fall off of that drum that he was painting and him try to catch it. And that's what got him. And then I saw when he got it all bolted up, he's crawling around under the tractor. I'm like, no, it was the drawbar. And I know exactly what he's going to do. And when I saw the floor jack come out, I was like, yep, there it is. And I was like, well, okay, well, it could have been a whole lot worse. And I think the best commenter on when it initially happened was the harmless farmer, Andy Detweiler. Andy Detweiler is a pretty cool dude. He's been through some, I can't say tragedy. He's been through some life-trying events. If you don't know who the Harmless Farmer is or Andy Detweiler, just check him out. He, when he was 2 years old, he got his arms ripped off in an auger. And every time I'm around an auger, I think of Andy and how, my little guy is 2 years old, and it terrifies me to death because that little kid of mine, little William, the little stinker, my stinker bean, he runs around all over that farm. He goes right to tractors, which is great because I put him in the cab and he's there for as long as he can stand to be in there, which would be forever. Yeah, he loves tractors. So I don't really worry about him too much. But when the augers get going and stuff, he is going to have a limited... he's going to be around the farm quite limited because I'm not going to have an accident like Andy Detweiler had. But he posted, hey, well, just be glad you got your arm. And I had to laugh about it because I think Andy's pretty funny guy. God, that tart, I did wash. I did wash since yesterday. It's just kind of, I even shaved, But anyway, Andy's got quite the sense of humor, and he doesn't let his disabilities be disabilities. He just goes on with life, and I'm sure if Scott Welker here had lost his arm that he would do the same. Yeah, he would. I mean, I know that about them. I don't speak with them. I've never spoken with Scott. I've spoken with Nick a little bit. I think through some text messaging, we talked about peas and how I used to grow peas when I was young. I was just out of high school, I guess we grew peas. And we didn't grow them we did combine a couple times. So we had oats with them and we ground them for the cows. But yeah, that was a job. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'm just glad he's gone through the surgeries, and I hope he gets that steel taken out of his arm. I got a friend of mine who's got steel in his body, and he has a titanium overload. Yes, there is such a thing. If you have too much titanium in your body, that it will actually become toxic, and yeah, you can have problems. But he had that titanium removed from just a couple spots that he had it in. He was in a really bad truck accident where he was stuck under a tractor trailer. They left him for dead for 5 hours before he came to and started yelling. And because they were doing the crime scene investigation with him under there because it sheared the carburetor off the truck. I just hit myself in the face. But anyway, yeah, that's just it. So I just want to talk about that a little bit, and so now we'll just get on to the agricultural part of this thing. I mean, that farm accidents can happen and do happen daily basis around the country, around the world, really. I mean, I hear horror stories. I hear stories of great luck, like Scott Welker. I mean, it's unlucky that he broke his arm, but he's lucky he didn't lose his arm, and I think that's what Andy was trying to portray there. So I worry about my kids all the time. I try not to put them in the risky areas, like safety glasses. Another guy that I watch, Josh Peak, he has Stuff I Heard podcast. If you've never listened to the Stuff I Heard podcast, go ahead and listen to it. I'm not a great podcast listener to her, but I do from time to time catch Josh Peak's Stuff I Heard, and it's okay. It's not bad. I actually wore a shirt of his. I put it on Instagram. And he sent it to me. He's like, hey, can you get the word out there? And anyway, he was doing something. I haven't gotten the dirty details of it. His father is R. Peak, who builds rat rods and plays banjos, which I enjoy both of those activities. But his son got something in his eye, and his eyes are blue, and his pupil is now oblong shaped and has a tear in it. And he's been through one surgery, and they got two more. He's got two more surgeries to do. Wear your safety squints. It's a good idea, especially if you're just doing something that you wouldn't even think could happen. Like, I'll just take this over to the grinder and go. It'll take me 2 seconds and I'll be fine. That's generally when these accidents happen. I've done things absolutely stupid, and you've watched me do stupid things for 12 years on YouTube, and I'm just telling you that it's a good idea to get your safety squints out, because you only got one pair of eyes, 2 arms, and 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes. You know the drill. 2 ears. You can lose your ears. They do sell things that amplify sound, which I have because of stupid things that I've done for 48 years. From shooting high-powered rifles and shotguns and handguns and things like that, pulling tractors with no exhaust on them, things like that. Just stupid stuff over the last 48 years of my life that have caused irreversible hearing damage, and now I have hearing aids, and as you can see now, the new addition is reading glasses, which is just wonderful. So as you get older, things start to say, hey, you know what, you're starting to wear down a little bit. Maybe slow down a little bit. I don't see myself slowing down, and I think it's really gonna suck for me to get old, because I'm so used to being 20 all the time. I mean, there's a lot of people that are my age, and they're like, man, you better slow down, because it's gonna be hard for you when you get to the point where you can't do the 20-year-old stuff anymore. And I agree. I just, as long as I can do it, I'm gonna do it, I guess. I mean, I walked the edge of the gravity wagon here the other day, and I thought, I'm 48 years old. If I fall off of this thing, it's going to hurt for a lot longer than it did when I was 20. But I didn't fall, and I just kind of did it, and just like I've never stopped doing it for the last ever. But farm safety is definitely one of those things you have to take into consideration. And no, I did not catch that on tape, that I was walking the 2-inch wide lip on those gravity boxes that are on the back of the L8000 truck. It's just something I've done forever, but climbing up the grain bin and standing on the top watching the view. Now that grain bin is 43 years old, and I'm thinking, is that roof still fastened up there? Which it is. It's fine. We're going to be putting up a new auger today up there. You can look at One Lonely Farmer channel. I just posted a video with a time lapse of the floor, and it actually came out better than I thought it would, because I changed some of the settings. I wish I had changed the settings earlier, because the first part is really, really fast, and the second part is not quite as fast. And I think the not quite as fast time lapse worked better. And then, of course, I explain what I'm going to do with the bin, and we got to get going on it anyway, because I got to get corn filled into that bin. But I have to I have to be an electrician now. So I got the little backhoe, and we're going to dig trenches today, and we're going to put new wiring in for the 2 fans and the elevator, the loading auger, and the unloading auger. And there's lights that need to be changed. There's 2 light bulbs up on top of that bin, and I think I'm going to Walmart, or I'm going to send Teresa to Walmart, and they sell this LED thing that you screw right into the old existing socket, and it's got 3 paddles of light. You just unfold, boink, boink, and I'm going to put those up there because I just think it's a good idea. What else is on that bin? Unloading auger. Well, there was a wire that went up for the spreader. We will be removing that. So my dad is like, hey, I don't think both of those motors are going to work. Both of those fans are going to work on one box. I don't think you have enough box. And I was like, well, that's okay. There's another box there. And he was thinking, what the hell other box is there? And it's for we had an electric grain spreader up in the top of that bin years ago, and it got struck by lightning, seized the motor, and we just never used it after that. And there's no need to use that, really. I guess it does spread chaff a little bit better, the fines that are in there. But other than that, these TR combines, these rotary combines, really, really do a good job of cleaning the grain out in the field, so we really don't need to worry too much about spreading those fines. And with the new grain floor in there, it's just going to be awesome. I think it's going to be pretty damn awesome because it's just going to be even air pressure. I got 6 new vents up in the roof, as you'll see in the video, and it's just going to be good. I'm getting pretty excited about getting going on this corn crop. A load of corn went out yesterday. Now I dried that corn down to 14% because I knew that conical bin has always been a pain in the ass about sweating. Well, wouldn't you know it, it's sweat right at the top. It's sweat. Pissed me off to no end. And I think it's just the heating and the cooling of the steel, and the condensation. Of course, the corn went in there cold, but still alive. Ooh, it got dark. The corn is still alive, as I say, it's still alive. There's still moisture in there, even though you get it down that. But whatever, it went out, and I felt a little bit of temperature in it, and I wasn't too thrilled about it. We'll see what they dock me. And it's like, this fucking moisture dock, it's just gonna kill me. But whatever, it's just I had to test the waters, had to test the combine because we are going to be getting into it pretty heavy here in the next couple of days. I have to set up augers and figure things out. So tomorrow is just going to be setup day. And then, I'm hoping that they come in tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday to pick up that other load of corn that I've sold, which will be nice. But anyway, so that's what's going on now. As far as world markets and stuff, we are in the craziest economy ever due to the COVID-19, or the Corona China virus, as the president calls it, and it is the China virus. And got to touch on a little bit of politics because as much as you don't like politics, politics rule our lives. They do rule our lives, and if you don't understand that, then you live with your head buried in the sand. If there's a political problem somewhere in the world, it generally affects, you guessed it, farmers. So with the China thing, and I will not benefit from this, and I know there's a lot of people out there that think that I'm just sucking on the tits of the U.S. government and getting all that farmer welfare money, which I do not. I don't receive a dollar or a dime from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I do not report my crops. I need to because, I won't even get started on that, but I need to report that I planted corn on these 2 farms because, other things. I will not sign them up in any kind of a program. I'm not asking for crop insurance. I'm not asking for anything. What the hell is this? Oh, Max Twine. How did that get there? William. Anyway, I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for crop insurance. I just don't want it. I don't care for it. They can kiss my ass if that's the case. I just would like to say, hey, here's what I've got, and this is what I'm doing. Just because, I'm not going to say. But anyway, I should. My uncle wants me to do it over on my grandparents' place. and it's just a good, for him, it's a good practice, not for me. It's a family thing. So I have to do it. And I've been quite lackluster in that because of the COVID-19 thing. I just don't want to go in there and deal with an idiot. And I'm telling you, an idiot, because I dislike the person that runs that office in there. But I got to do it. So anyway, the corn that I've picked so far has been well over 200 bushels to the acre. I'm going to open up a field that I haven't touched. I know how many acres are there, and I know what the moisture is going to be. I will be able to, the moisture is getting down around 16, 17 right now, and I should be able to come up with a fairly accurate bush BPA, bushels per acre, and that'll work. But back onto the politic thing. If you're not sure about politics and agriculture, like I said, you're walking around with your head in the sand, because every time something, I got snot. Every time something happens in the world, it affects us farmers, and it really truly does. And I got my hats off to this president, and that's where I was going with the USDA. For corn and soybean farmers, there is money. Corn, soybean, wheat, strawberries, all kinds of farmers. Every farmer except for me, because I'm a hay farmer. That don't matter. I don't count. The corn, I haven't registered it with the USDA, so I will not receive $1 of anything, that's available out there. At least I don't think I will, and I don't want it anyway. As stupid as that sounds, I don't want it anyway. Because once you get on that government crack, the cash that they're going to be handing out, it's really hard to wean yourself off of it. Now, they weaned me off of it a long time ago. After signing up 3,000 acres of ground, and believe me, it was a job to get signatures for 3,000 plus acres of ground. I think I've told this story before. Signed up 3,000 acres of ground, and I had somewhere around 400 acres that I didn't sign up because the property owner said, "Hey, we don't want to be entered in any program on our property. We don't want the government involved in our business at all." So I left them out, and I was threatened by the woman up here that runs this office. She said that she was going to take back any money that I had gotten from the USDA for the past 10 years. Now, it would have been somewhere around $30,000-$40,000 is all in 10 years that I would have gotten. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. It's not. 10 years, $30,000-$40,000 is $3,000 to $4,000 a year in government loopholes or government rings that I had to jump through. I felt that it was, at that time, less effort to just go to the field and make $3,000 worth of hay, which would happen in 50 bales. So in the week that it was taking me to go in, sit down for 2 or 3 hours, come back 2 or 3 hours more another day, go back 2 or 3 hours the next day, 2 or 3. By the time it was done, I was in there for about 5 days of horse shit that ruins your whole day. And I'm thinking to myself, in those 5 days that I've been chasing down property owners, chasing down this USDA, signing these papers. I mean, my hands, I got writer's cramp from signing my name so many times to these papers. And I'm like, I could just go and bale 50 bales of hay. That's like 15 acres. 15 acres. And let me tell you, 15 acres baling with 2 balers or 3 balers, it's, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, I could do that a lot easier instead of dealing with the government. As far as corn and soybeans are concerned, I gave up soybeans permanently. I will never. Should I say never? Because, if I say never, somebody's going to come back and say, "Oh, yeah, well, you said never back in 2020, and now you're growing soybeans and it's 2033, If the deer die, if there is a disease that comes through and kills off half of the herd of deer, I then will probably grow soybeans again. Wheat, Probably never, unless something comes and kills the geese. Yeah, geese. We have geese so freaking bad here, it's not even funny. I have been decimated and damn near bankrupted by America's wildlife more than once. Drought we can deal with, whatever. This corn, it's 200 acres. Yeah, it's $55,000 worth of $60,000 to get that 200 acres in the ground, something like that. Which sounds cheap. It sounds cheap, but the equipment that it takes to produce or to get it off, that costs money. This bin, $20,000, $22,000 by the time I'm done with this auger. All these other things that I've got going on with the grain bin and everything else. Yeah, it's going to be expensive. The grain will pay to fix the bin and the combine and the fuel to put propane into that thing. And I'm bald and badass again. That's what the grain's going to pay for, and the profit will be in the fodder. The twine's bought, the fuel's bought to bale it, the machines. I just need to buy 10 tarps, which will give me 1,500 bales, 1,600 bales worth of fodder to cover, and I will do it without any problem. I'm going to probably order those today. I need my credit card, and I'll just do it. I don't have any credit card debt, so I'm okay there. I just call up and say, hey, this is what I got. This is what I need. Could you please, here's the credit card. And bada bing, bada boom, I get my tarps. 1-800-HEY-TARP. If you want the best tarps in the world, 1-800-HEY-TARP. Rocky is the guy you're going to talk to, and you can tell him that I sent you. He knows my name, Wesley Pandy. So if you're looking for good quality hay tarps where you don't need to buy things that you bury in the ground, pipes that you have to put in the sides, it's a very simple system. I know Trevor Bales does not like hay tarps, but I honestly believe that he uses 1-800-HEY-TARPs. It's the Inland Hay Tarp Company, and they produce really good stuff. I've had tarps as many as, I think I got one tarp that's 15 years old. Seriously, 15 years old. And I've got 27 tarps right now, and I'm going to buy 10 more. So that put me at 37 tarps. Now, that's a lot of tarps. But I'm in the mulch hay business. I just need to keep the weather off until February, March, and then the tarps all come off. And then they can gain a little bit of weight. They need a little bit of moisture in them then anyway. And, that's how I roll. And as far as this corn fodder, the corn fodder is going to be a bit tricky because of mice. They're going to want to eat the grain that's left in that fodder. Possibly not bother the tarps. I mean, the tarps are pretty good. The biggest thing with tarps getting holes in them is when you store them. Oh, I'm dark again. And storing those tarps, you need moth balls or moth crystals or dryer sheets, bounce dryer sheets. Mice don't like those. They really don't. I put mothballs in the combine this time because the dryer sheets dried out in 5 years that I didn't use it, or 6 years I didn't use it, and it's like, need mothballs. So I put those in there, and boy, what a stink that thing has. Oh my God, I can't get the mothball smell out. But anyway, so the political, did you hear that? Maybe not. Anyway, I bet the microphone picked it up. But I'm not going to tell you what it was. You can guess. But anyway, as far as corn and soybeans are concerned, the price is going up. I think the derecho or the derecho that happened out west from Iowa clear up into Wisconsin, it was like 250 miles deep and 730 miles long, right in the midsection. It went whoosh. I witnessed it. I went out to Nebraska, drove through Iowa, and what's shocking is that, and I don't believe it, I've watched a couple of channels, I don't believe what they're saying they're getting. I'm sorry. I think there's some fibbing going on, because I had corn go down in the hurricane, which was about the same stage as the corn was that they had during the derecho. and I know what that corn is like. I know what's happening to it, and it's just low test weight. It's going to result in dockages. And it's not there. There's wildlife that can get to it very easily. So, if you're telling me you're getting 250 bushels on flat ass corn, I'm not buying it. I don't care who you are. And you can call me an asshole. It's all right. I don't mind. Because I've been in this business long enough to know that downed corn costs money. I've even taken a grain platform and cut corn that was flat as a pancake. It's hard on the combine, but we do it. We've done it. And the yield is higher with a grain platform than it is with a corn head, even with a corn reel. Those corn reels are great until you start wrapping them up and bending them, and then then it's a pain in the ass. You know it. If you got a Kerdeman grain reel, you know that they bend. You know they're not perfect. You know that there's ears laying on the ground. So in a 250 bushel yield corn crop with a Kerdeman, you're going to probably end up with 175 because I'm sorry, there's a lot of ears left behind. And they used to take and send animals out onto those fields to pick up, and then they would sell the animals to recover some of their crop loss. It's just one of those things that we did years ago. And I'm seriously considering getting hogs. I get 10 hogs and put out there an electric fence and just move them across the farm where the downed corn was. It would be okay. I do have some problems with deer because the deer are into that corn now where it fell over, and they're just taking their hooves and knocking it down and busting it open. Is really just, but most of you guys out in the Midwest and other areas don't have the problems that I have with deer. And I know I love it when they're like, oh yeah, we got deer here. You don't have deer. You don't. I'm telling you right now, you think you have deer. You don't have deer. I got deer. You don't have deer. You may have a few deer. I've got a few million deer. There was 101 deer per square mile back in the late 90s. That's what they were. They went consistently. And they had that white buffalo group come out to shoot them with high-powered rifles in this wonderful state. And they're like, okay, so 101 deer per square mile. That's what it averaged. 101 deer per square mile. Think about that. Now, those deer, and that's broadcast over Hunterdon County, 101 deer in Hunterdon County per every square mile. Now, we have square miles of woods. We have square miles of fields. I went to 2 years ago, I guess it was. I went to a drone academy, infrared camera gizmo where those deer were just popping out of the woodwork into that corn, and you could see them for a long ways away. There was quite a few of them, and so that 101 deer per square mile can travel 4 miles, right? So they say that a deer will travel 4 miles in all directions from the center of where it was born. That's what they told us years ago. So you take 4 miles in a radius this way, all the way around. So you're looking at 8 miles, and you're looking at 16 miles of deer. I would say somewhere around 16 square miles of deer in that radius. Probably a little off. But just say for shits and giggles, it's 16 square miles in that radius because you're going 4 miles that way, 4 miles that way, 4 miles that way, and 4 miles that way. So it's 4, 8, 12, 16. I can count. So we got 16 square miles, but we got round edges, so we're going to have to shave off 1 square mile. Let's just say 2 square miles. Let's say we got 14 square miles of deer. All right? 14 square miles of deer. That's 1,414 deer. 1,414 deer. Now, they can go to a pinpoint, which they don't. They don't all. You're not going to see 1,400 deer in 1 square mile here. But there is a lot of deer. Now, I'm going to tell you that they will continue to migrate in because I am a murderer of deer. I can kill more deer than most people do in 1 week than most people do in a lifetime of legal hunting. My best is 7 and 30 seconds. Yes, 7 and 30 seconds. I'm not going to tell you what I was using because I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that, but it's been probably 10 years ago or more. I've done with a 12 gauge shotgun. I did 13 in 2.5 hours, on one farm, one 30-acre farm. So 13 in 2.5 hours. I ran out of ammunition. I had to go back. I had 3 boxes of 5, and I missed a couple times. I went back, and then I just got tired of shooting these damn things. But yeah, I've killed a lot of deer. We do it all the time. Used to do it all the time. I haven't shot a deer now in a long time. A long time. Legal and illegal, I guess I can... But I haven't shot a deer in so many years, it's not even funny, to be honest with you. But anyhow, that being said, if there's 20 deer in a 25-acre field, which is not uncommon. I've already been into remember where the corn thief was? I know this is a different channel than that I posted that, but, 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, we had a corn thief. Corn thief guy was going in and just stripping the ears down. I think that was the last year I grew corn there, to be honest with you. So that was probably in 2014 or 2013, 2014. Beautiful corn, 220 bushel to the acre yield. We had the insurance company out and do a yield test on it, and it averaged 222, 221, 222, something like that. And where the corn thief was, it was like 50 bushels. So, yeah, but in those fields, that particular farm, there's an 8-acre field in the front, there's 20 acres in the back, and then there's 9 acres to the side. But, so you're looking at somewhere around 40 acres there. 38, 40 acres. Beautiful, wide open fields, nice to get into and work in, but they're surrounded by woods. Now, when you would pull into the first field, you would see 10 or 12 deer eating. This is when I had soybeans there, 10 or 12 deer. And then you get the binoculars out and you look in the back 25-acre piece. 25, is that 25 acres? It's about 25, 30 acres there. Is there 40 acres in one piece? So just say 25 acres in the back. You look in the far back corner, and it was just like a grandstand of brown animals out there, a herd, which would be anywhere from 30 to 50 deer in that backfield. And then you go over to the front piece, which is like 8 acres, 9 acres, and there's 10 or 15 out there. I could shoot 10 deer in there, and then the next night there would be the exact same number, or less, or slightly more, many times, and I'd shoot them all summer long. One summer, I killed 78 deer in that field. On that farm, 78 deer in that farm, because we had to write it down. I had a depredation permit. I was using a 20-gauge slug gun. You could really reach out 150 yards and just pop these things off. And I was that good of a shot. I mean, with a 20-gauge slug gun, they get a little funky out there at the end. They drop off pretty quick. But I was pretty good with the gun. I had 2 of them. One was a Harrington Richardson Ultra Slug Hunter, which was basically a 10-gauge barrel with a 20-gauge bore, heavy gun, leaded stock. I mean, this thing was awesome. I still have it, obviously. We 78 deer in one summer on that farm. Up the road at another farm, I killed, it was 72? I might be backwards. 78 on one, 72 on the other. It was just 150 deer. 150 deer within a mile of one another in one summer. And at the end of the summer, it didn't matter. The beans were this tall because I couldn't be out there all night. The beans were this tall, 8 bushels to the acre. A farm that was, 2 miles away, the front part was over 80 bushels to the acre. The back part of that field was like 16 bushels in the back. So you take 80 bushels on a 53-acre field, because it was such a big field that the deer would all stay in the back. They went from being like here on my chest to here on my ankles. And I shot deer there too. I couldn't tell you how many deer I shot there because, well, it was a lot. And I couldn't use the 20 gauge there. So it was something slightly different. But we won't talk about that. I was shooting groundhogs, let's put it that way. And I'm allowed to use like a 243 to shoot groundhogs. And, there was some other casualties that had happened. But we're talking a long ass time ago, and it doesn't matter because there's not even bones left. And maybe I'm lying, right? Maybe I'm just a liar. That could be. People have accused me of that too, but it's okay. I'm all good with it. So anyways, that's why I quit growing soybeans. But I guess I'm talking about things that I've done in the past, I shouldn't even be talking about them. But yeah, as far as corn and soybean prices, they are on the rise, which is going to benefit the people that were procrastinating about selling the bulk of their corn and soybeans. I didn't forward contract any corn because I just had this crazy feeling that this election is coming. The election is coming. When that derecho hit, I was thinking about selling, 10,000 bushels of corn, and that derecho hit out west. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm not going to sell anything because I know this is going to creep up. Now, I haven't sold anything. It's gone up another, 30 cents since I sold the corn last week. I sold last Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday I sold corn, and I picked up one load yesterday. $4.05 a bushel is what I got yesterday for that load, for the two loads. I got $4.05, but it's gone up 30 cents since I sold those, so we're looking at 35 cents. That's good. That's damn good. So we're at that $4.35 picked up. That's picked up. I don't have to even truck it. So I'm pretty happy with those prices, and I'm glad that I made that decision not to sell. Now, I'm watching some of these guys that are harvesting now doing very well, but there's a lot that aren't doing very well, and there's a lot of drought in the country with hay and corn and soybeans. Obviously, you go 3 miles to my southeast, and it's drought stricken. You go up the road here, and I saw drought-stricken soybeans. I mean, soybeans that have no deer pressure on them, that are only 1.5 feet tall, and it's like, wow, they just don't look good. They just don't look good at all. The leaves came off of them, and, there's no lodging whatsoever, and I know the farmer, so it's not like he put anything down. I call them miners. When you have a farmer that takes a good farm and just grows one crop for every year for 30 freaking years and never puts anything down, they mine the ground, and eventually it's depleted and they get nothing out of it. So, but anyways, I've been droning on here for about 37 minutes, and yeah, it's been fun, and I'm glad that I'm here. I actually have to go to the bathroom, and take care of some things, like brush my teeth, comb my hair, and life will be good. But yeah, it's been great talking to you. I know I haven't been here in a while, and I guess I'm going to try to start to pick up this channel a little bit more, because when summertime comes, Ag Talking to Raw gets put to the side. It's generally a wintertime thing. And I've probably been all over the place, and I really didn't touch on the political side of it, what I think and what I feel, but that's okay, other than, go Trump. Anyways, Donald Trump's going to win. If Bo Biden and Camel Toe Harris go to a rally in Pennsylvania and only 8 people show up, what does that tell you about their voter base? Because if they're not showing up to rallies, they're not going to show up to vote. So I think that, I watched the president do a rally down here. He says the same thing over and over again. If you didn't notice, now I'm getting on political. He says a lot of the same thing over and over again. Now, since his COVID-19 diagnosis, he's changed it up a little bit, and it has actually gotten a little bit better. A little bit more to talk about, a little bit better things to say. But there was 10, 20, 30,000 people there. I'm like, if 30,000 people are willing to go out and wait at an airport for the president to land. Now, it's really cool to see Air Force One. I've seen it many times fly over the farm. You usually see the big plane and a couple of little ones. A couple of little ones. Now, those little ones, those are the ones you don't want to mess with when the president is flying over your farm. You don't send a drone up to 4,000 feet because they will kill you. No, my drone will go that high too. I did it. I went into my program. I'm like, I can override this. 5,000 feet is where I went. 5,000 feet. I went up to cloud base. This freaking thing was like, Now, if a small airplane hit that, I'd be in some serious doo-doo. I did videotape it. I'm not posting it online. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. But boy, that was really cool, because you see the curve of the earth. You know, when you hear about these flat earthers, they're like, oh yeah, the earth is flat. People are psychotic. They got videos of it. They got videos of our planet. There's satellites up there. They show that it's round. When I sent my drone I used to fly a lot. You know, before my uncle was killed in that small airplane, you could see. I mean, you look out over that horizon, you could see. And I know that Michael Fazio is going to tell me I'm crazy, but I'm telling you right now, the earth is round. It's not flat, it's round. You know, I mean, explain the sun going up and down, up and down. How does that work if the world is flat? How about when you're at 30,000 feet or 38,000 feet and you look out the window, 42,000 feet, and you look out the window over the Arctic and you can see the curve of the earth? I don't know. I think the earth is round. So anyway, yeah. I wouldn't recommend sending your drone up that high. I did have a little bit of a problem. It didn't want to come down. It took so long for that thing to come down, and I was scared. Now, there is a power cut on my drone. I could cut the power, like an emergency, and it will fall. I wouldn't recommend that either, because it breaks them. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll see you over at One Lonely Farmer channel if you want to see that, because I got a time lapse going up there a little later today.